Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? My name is Rob Carmona, and welcome back to another episode of Rob the Mic. So, on last week's episode, I had mentioned to you guys that I was going to be doing some event coverage this past weekend. The event that I was going to be shooting is called Chopped and Dropped, and it was hosted by Nosed and Decked at Roxanne's Bar in Long Beach. I had been invited to this event a couple months ago, and it was one of those things I had already marked it on my calendar. I was really excited about it. I've been to some of their affiliate events. For those of you guys who don't know about Nosed and Decked, it's a brand that tends to cater more towards like the hot rod classic, chop top mercs, dope paint jobs, that whole type of thing. And they also sit in the realm of like surf, skate, and that kind of just like action sport realm, which is a trip because I feel like it stays pretty true to Cali culture, especially within like the whole hot rod realm, because a lot of it comes from like very beach towns, right? Like you have like Huntington Beach, Seal, Manhattan, all of that. And that culture was very much aligned. It was like dudes who surfed, dudes who skated. They used to like to have dope cars too. And it just, I don't know, for some reason it always went hand in hand. And I feel like car cultures in general tend to line up with action sports. Like how many times, especially right now within current culture, right? Like within drifting and things like that, do you see guys from action sports that also mess with cars too, right? It just for some reason it goes, right? Like it's extremes. That's what the way I like to kind of pin it is like you have people who are into extremes of everything and they just kind of fuck with cool shit, right? So extreme sports, action sports will also somehow be into cars and they like modifying them and kind of going about it all this kind of crazy way. So that's what Nose and Decked is all about, essentially. Great company, great people who fuck with them. So I can't complain. Anytime I can be in their presence, I'm always down. So, of course, I had to show up on Saturday. And it was one of those things I had packed up my gear and I was like, all right, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do today. I always pack up whether I'm going to shoot like photo, video, it doesn't really matter. I tend to just, I have a certain to go pack. I bring all that stuff and I'm just kind of ready to shoot whatever it is that I'm going to shoot and however I'm going to do it. So, when I got there solo. I ended up running into a couple buddies. Turns out to be a great day, honestly. I was going to go really, really early in the morning. I had set my alarm for 7 a.m., got up, and it was super overcast, which for photography is really great, right? Because it helps you. It's not like super harsh and it ends up working out for you in that way. But for myself, when it comes to video, it doesn't work for me because I can't show you guys exactly what I want to show you, which a lot of the times ends up being paint, engine bays, chrome, interior, things like that. And when it's just super overcast, everything looks dull. And there's nothing I can do in post to kind of help me bring those types of things out, right? Like I can't show you guys flake in the sun if there is no sun. I can't show you gleaming chrome if there's nothing for the like to gleam off of the chrome. There's no sun. There's nothing helping me. So it's like I didn't want to show that. So I was like, you know what? It's cool. I'm going to go back to sleep. I'll just get some rest, wake up a little bit, see what's up. I get up a couple hours later and I'm like, damn, dude, it literally hasn't changed. And this was hours later. I ended up going to the event, I would say closer to noon. It was still pretty overcast when I got there. So I was just kind of taking some pictures, doing my thing. And I ended up not shooting video that day. So there won't be a video coming this week. And we'll see what the next one's going to be. I don't know. I don't necessarily have anything super pressing on the calendar right now, but I'm keeping my eyes open, trying to see what's up, what events are coming, whether it's here, up north, out of state, trying to keep my horizons open. Or how would you say it? I'm trying to broaden my horizons and see where my camera is going to take me and what I'm going to create, who I'm going to create it for. So, we'll see what's up. I'm excited for that. But as of right now, I don't have anything on the calendar. So it feels a little weird. I don't have anything scheduled. Um, but again, it's also exciting because who knows, something might pop up and things pop up all the time. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to having open weekends essentially. And also, I'm trying to be better about not working every single weekend because I've been doing that the last couple weekends where I'll go shoot on Saturday and then on Sunday I try to chill. I end up not chilling and just kind of processing. And it's like, nah, dude, I need to step away. So who knows, maybe even the next couple weekends, maybe I'll just take them off, just kind of chill, make some plans with friends, do things, especially with my birthday coming up next week. I should probably do that. Should probably step away because I think it's really important for people to understand how to disconnect from their work. And for myself, working for myself has kind of shown me that, because I'm home, or if I always have my phone on me, my iPad, computer, something, I will end up working. Like without me even paying attention or noticing, I will end up working, whether it's like looking at certain pieces I need to process, or whether I'm trying to schedule something out. And I'm like, man, I got to fucking step back from that. I got to be able to chill too. I have to make time for myself, for the people that I love, because a lot of the times I will work on the weekends, and my weeks are usually meant for like processing and stuff like that. But it's tough because if I'm doing event coverages, obviously that's Saturday, Sundays, and if I'm shooting, let's say even like a birthday party or something like that, when is it going to be? On a Saturday, Sunday, sometimes on a Friday, believe it or not. But it's I have to find like a happy medium, I guess you could say. And that's been the hardest thing, is like finding happy mediums with everything that I'm doing right now. But I'm starting to get better at it. But overall, the event on Saturdays, I don't want to go too far off topic, was really great. Turnout was sick. Quality of car was insane. And honestly, dude, there's something about those types of cars that I just love. It takes me back to just kind of when I started going to like Moon Eyes events and stuff like that. And the thing is, I've always gone to these events by myself. And, I end up shaking hands and making friends and stuff, which is always cool. And I love that. I really do. And the people who are in these communities within Old School are very welcoming. They are very caring. They're very open and stuff like that. So people are willing to talk about their cars or, anything like that. So it's always great. And I don't mind going by myself. But it was always cool being like, I wonder who I'm going to meet today. And sure enough, on Saturday, that happened a few times where I got to, meet some new people, shake some new hands. And I'm like, damn, this is so sick, dude. And it's moments like that I always remind myself, like, it's because of my craft. It's because of what I'm doing that's giving me these experiences. That's letting me meet these new people. That's letting me shake more hands. It's letting me just kind of spread my work a little bit more. And it's cool whether I gain a couple followers, or I just have somebody checking out my work being like, dude, this is great. Like, I'm always very humbled by that. So it's cool to have new supporters and just kind of keep involved in the community and keep doing something that I love, which is awesome. Because that's always been, I think it's everyone's dream, right? Like, you want to do something that you love for your entire life. And for myself, that's something that I'm always trying to push. And I don't want to leave this realm. Like, I don't ever want to go to something and end up super unhappy, because I also remember what that was for me too. And right now it's, again, I'm trying to find that happy medium where it's like I'm working, but I'm trying to stay happy. I'm trying to do my thing, trying to do stuff that I love. And I think a lot of that is just kind of being selective. And with this event, this was something that I knew I had to be at, because it was something that I genuinely wanted to do. It was something I genuinely wanted to go to, even just as a spectator, camera aside. So it was nice. It was nice to go and enjoy myself and just kind of dick around for a little bit, catch up with some of the guys. It's all good vibes, And it was dope because when I was done shooting, I had invited my buddy Sebastian, and he was working. But once he finished up, he rolled down. He rolled down at the perfect time. Even though it was hot as shit, I say he rolled down at the perfect time because I had just finished shooting. So we're able just to kick back. They have some, like, I guess you can say eclectic outdoor seating, because it's like different. Sometimes it's just like a little bench, or it'll be like a little table, and then you might not be able to sit down, or there'll be like mismatched like bar stools and stuff like that. So it's a cool spot. But we're able just to post up, have a couple beers, and just watch people wild out, whether it was dudes jamming down the street, people just wilding out with their homies, people hitting switches. Like, it was dope. It was really, really dope. So I'm glad that I went. It was a great event. And honestly, I got to see some of my favorite cars in SoCal, because there's certain ones that I have within different scenes that I always get excited when I see them. Doesn't matter how many times I see them, I always get excited. And I know a lot of you who are into cars, who watch this and or listen to this podcast, you guys understand exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you have your certain builds that just, they fucking have you by the throat. Every time you get super stoked, you're like a kid, So that happened with me this weekend. I got to see a couple of those, and I can't complain, not one fucking bit. And man, there was this one that sticks out. This guy pulled up in a Riviera, purple, super badass paint job, really nice roof, killer interior. And as soon as he pulled up, it was funny because one of my buddies, Isaac, he's like, "Oh, dude, that thing has you already." As soon as I saw him pulling up, because there where we were parked at, there was a dance studio across the street, and there's a little parking lot next to that dance studio. It was all packed up, and the front parking on the boulevard, they had it blocked off because people were dropping off their kids for the dance studio, and they were nice enough to let everybody park in their parking lot, but they were just like, "Hey, nobody can park on the boulevard just yet." So once they closed, which was pretty early, they moved everything, and then this guy just so happened to pull up. So he parked right there in front, and of course, once I got my moment, jammed over there, took a bunch of pictures. So those are going to be coming out. I'm excited to show you guys those pictures. And actually, I might even drop them today. Who knows? We'll see. I feel like it might be a good set to drop, because on Monday, I ended up dropping a Chop Top Merc that was at that event. And I mean, the reception of it, you guys, again, never fucking cease to amaze me with the amount of love, the shares, the comments, everything. Fucking thank you guys for just hyping me up and pushing the work that way, because it's killer. It's fucking killer. It's very humbling, and I love it, and I love y'all. So thank you. So I feel like I might just keep that ball rolling. So maybe I'll do another shot. Like for today and Friday, I might just leave everything from Nosed and Deck. So we'll see what's up. But it's things like that. And it's like, oh man, this is sick. And it's cool to feel like that. It's cool to feel like a kid again, you know, and just get excited about shit like that, because why not? Why not? I feel like, especially now, with as long as I've been into cars, I find it very rare that I find something that just really excites me. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, or that, you know, I don't think cars are dope in general, but it's tough. And I feel like a lot of you who have been in this industry for a very long time, if anything, you probably agree with me. Because in a sense, you feel like you've seen it all, and you're just like, man, like, what the fuck? It all kind of starts to look the same. It doesn't matter what kind of realm you're in, whether you're in hot rods, lowriders, you know, classics, JDM, Euro, anything like that. It all starts to look the same. But then there's going to be those couple cars or those builders that come out and they do something to kind of move it a little bit. And you're like, oh, what's that? Why did it look like that? How come it goes like that? How come it sounds like that? So those are the types of things that they catch my attention right away. So anytime I see something that just sparks, I'm like, oh shit. So it was cool, because I had that quite a few times on Saturday, and it was nice. It was really, really nice. And I didn't work on Sunday. Told myself I was not going to process anything on Sunday. So I was going to relax, took it easy. And I'm glad I did that. I needed to do it. And then for this week, I mean, so far, it hasn't been too crazy, which is really nice. I was able to process my photos, get my stuff done. But one thing I was really looking forward to was hanging out with my buddy Zoe yesterday, because we had talked last week and we're catching up a little bit, and we haven't had too much time together as of recent. I think life has just kind of taken over. We're both doing our own things. Like, we don't work for corporate companies anymore, or any sort of like person that we report to. And it's very different. It's very, very different on that side. Your time, I feel like you would think you have more time, and I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like now neither of us ever have time. So it was nice, because he was like, dude, do you have anything next Tuesday? And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Either way, I'm going to figure something out. I will make time. So I was able to shift things around. We ended up having lunch, and it was great. It was great. It was something that we both needed. We both needed to laugh, catch up, talk business. And it's also weird too, right? When you get into that sort of, I guess, like that adult phasing where it's like, damn, dude, here we are getting together when we can, and we're just talking life. We talk business, and you're just like, fuck, dude, this is what it is to be an adult, right? Having those moments where you're just like, it feels weird. Because I don't think any of us ever want to admit, like, you know, that we're getting older, or that we're becoming adults, that we are adults. Because I mean, what the fuck is being an adult anyway, you know? I think a lot of us have had to grow up really quickly and figure things out. And I think being an adult, there isn't like a definitive set of things that make you an adult. I think we just kind of all end up doing adult things to a certain extent. But one thing that we were talking about that really hit home, because it was funny, because earlier that day I was on LinkedIn, And the reason why I stay on LinkedIn is just because I like to see where the industry is at. I like to see what people with my experience are being paid, what people that kind of line up in the same realm, where they are at financially, what are people looking at, what responsibilities are companies adding onto these roles, because it gives me a better insight on where I'm at with my business. Where if somebody hits me up to say, hey, can you do a branding profile for me? And I can say, yeah, for sure, of course. Let's talk about what it is that you need, where you want to be, what's your budget, XYZ. And I say, okay, cool. This is where I'm at price wise. And I can kind of line things up a certain way. But if I have a client, let's say, that comes to me and says, hey, I need a branding profile. And on top of that, I want you to build merch for the brand. I want you to build social presence, a website, XYZ. So I get to look at it from a freelancing perspective. And I'm like, okay, this is where you're at. This is what I can do, and all of that in between. But then I look at certain corporate jobs and I'm like, damn, dude, it really is wild what these companies are paying people versus what they're worth and what they could be making. And so the reason why I mentioned this whole LinkedIn thing is because that's something that Zoe and I ended up talking about for quite some time. Because he was asking me, about work. And again, we were talking about business, how's everything going, certain things. And of course, I think when you own your own business, you go through these ups and downs and you kind of never know what's going to happen, right? You do your best to stay on top of things and to do your job to the best ability that you can. But there's certain things you just can't avoid. And I think the up and down of it all it's just a part of the game. But I told him, I go, dude, the hardest thing is finding people who want to pay anything. And I feel like it's even worse now because there's so many tools out there for editing and doing all kinds of stuff, whether it's for photos or video or marketing or anything like that. And you have programs that are supposedly making it easier for people. And all of a sudden, everyone thinks they're a fucking designer, like Canva. I'm not trying to take shots at Canva, but at the same time, I have a lot of fucking gripes with that shit because I've even had to use it for my work because I have certain clients that use it. And I've had to make certain, I guess you can say, adjustments so that things can be on Canva. And it's like, wait, what the fuck's going on, dude? Why? This is like the bane of my existence. Because now you have a bunch of people jumping onto this fucking app or website, whatever. It's actually both now that I think about it. And they're like, oh, I'm a designer because I can do this. I can drag and drop this and put pictures here and put a color here and do this and do that. And, I can make a logo because I used a logo generator. Like that's the most disrespectful shit to people like me who have been in the industry for X amount of years, who worked and busted our asses to get a certain degree or to get a certain title, a certain place, whatever it may be. But here I am having to deal with this type of bullshit, right? And more often than not, I will get people when, let's say they'll turn around and ask me for a social asset. I tell them what I charge for it. They'll say, oh, I can find somebody on one of these websites for a couple dollars or do the same thing for $5 or $10. I'm like, well, then why the fuck are you talking to me? Why are you wasting my time? Like, I don't know what the fuck you thought this was, dude. This isn't fucking Pick and Save. This ain't the 99-cent store, homie. You're coming to me for my expertise, for what I do. There's a reason why you emailed me. There's a reason why you DM'd me. There's a reason why you went to my website to look at my portfolio, see what I can produce. You looked at my client list, which I think as a designer, it's very important to show things like that. And it's not that I've had certain people tell me, why do you do that? And the reason why, it's not to show off. It's not to kind of scare people off in a way. But at the same time, it's like, I want people to understand the clients that I've had and the companies that I've worked with are top fucking tier. And there's a reason why I was able to work with these companies. There's a reason why I landed in certain positions and I was able to do certain types of things with certain types of people, right? It's not just because I got lucky. No, it's not. My first job out of college, I got it because I was really fucking trying. And it was a surprise. I had no idea that was going to come my way, but I knew if I busted my ass in front of the right people, that something would come my way. And sure enough, it did. And everything that's unfolded after that has pretty much been that way as well. So again, if you're coming to me it's for a reason. It's for what I can do, and like also how fast I can do it. Because the environments that I've worked in from my design career have been very turn and burn, but you also have to keep the quality a certain way, and you have to be able to do certain things at a certain time, right? Like I remember being under the gun at 4WP when we had King of the Hammers. All of a sudden, Hammers gets dropped on me. Dude, we need you to do everything. So it was myself and one of my other coworkers who was kind of, he had already done some of the blade signage. So a lot of the signs that you see as you're going into Hammertown and stuff like that. So I was talking with him about assets and certain things that I needed, but it was just kind of building this entire event. And I was like, oh shit, here we go. Got to make it happen. I only have a couple days, but it's all got to get done. And the quality has to be 110%. Nothing can fall between the cracks. It's all got to be perfect, right? Your average person probably wouldn't be able to do that, but it's also not for everyone to be in those types of positions or to do that kind of work. It's just how I work. So when people ask me for stuff, I kind of take it under the, I guess you can say under like the Paula Scher approach. She is an insane designer, absolutely phenomenal. I think she's one of the greatest designers to ever live. And she's always had this kind of mentality, and I understand it. I get it, and I identify with that shit to the fucking core. Because she talks about, basically, if somebody comes to her with something, and they say, hey, I need a logo, or I need this, I need that. She's like, if I don't get it almost immediately, I won't put my time into it. Because there might be something missing. I'm not trying to put words in her mouth, or like, these are no quotes by any way, shape, or form. But it's essentially, this is what she's talking about. It's just, if I don't get it right then and there, if I can't see the vision, if I can't help you formulate something, I can't do it. This isn't going to work. I'm not going to be able to work with you. And I understand that, because I have clients that will come to me and they will tell me, hey, Rob, this, and this, and this. Next thing you know, I get my pen, I get my paper, and I'll start sketching shit out. Even if it's horrible, I'm just like, okay, cool. I have an understanding. I get what you're saying. It comes to me right away. Boom. Let me flesh this out. I'll get back to you. And certain friends that I have had the pleasure of working with me, and they've gotten to see me work. They've gotten to see me move and shift pixels and put, rearrange type and do certain things like that. And it's exciting. I love getting to do stuff like that. But then they also understand the reason why I charge what I charge and the reason why I do what I do. And they're like, oh, it makes sense now. It makes sense now. Like, I don't even understand why I went to somebody else. And I'm like, look, this is what I do, and I love what I do. But it's really hard to see the industry as a whole not appreciating creatives. And this isn't just creatives. This is all across the fucking board. All across the board. I think every industry right now, especially here in Southern California, is being underpaid heavily. But it was nuts as I was going through, I guess you can say, senior designer to art directing positions, what was being requested and what was being paid out, right? Like for one of the senior positions I saw yesterday, not going to throw out any companies, but it said basically they wanted you to know the Adobe suite, understood. And I guess you could say it's like, I'm not going to say the big three, but kind of the big three. So you have Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign, of course, along with other programs, but I would say those are the big three, depending on what you do for design. So it was know those. And then it started to list, it was like Figma, Sketch, a couple other programs that are being used, whether it's for like app building, things like that. They wanted you to have UI UX experience. If you don't know what that is, essentially it's like building apps and understanding how and why to build apps and like certain things, and just taking the experience of a person and how can you make it simpler to use certain things, whether it's how you flow through an app, how you scroll, things that you click, where your thumb is placed, all that type of stuff. So they want you to be a graphic designer. They also want you to understand coding. They want you to understand app development. And then on top of that, for this job too, they wanted you to understand coding from the website side. They wanted like CSS plus or something like that. It was like HTML, something of the other, and some other bullshit. And I was like, okay, this is kind of nuts. And then, granted, senior position. So some of these things I do understand, but it's like, how to lead a team, this, and this, cutting deadlines, working with this, doing this, presentation this, da 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 da. So basically the list went fucking on for days. I get down to the bottom and it's talking about pay. And it listed a pay scale. So for something within that realm, I know where the pay should be. 110%. I think a majority of people in the industry also have an idea, especially the ones who are currently working and receiving that amount of money. So you have a job that should be paying out minimum, like starting pay, $80K. And that's even pretty low. To be honest with you, you should be anywhere from like the 90, 100 starting point, capping out at like 120, 125, possibly a little higher than that, depending on the company, the scale, what it is that you're doing. So those are just some numbers to throw out, right? Where it should be. This fucking position, dude, this fucking position had capped out at 65,000. Make that shit make sense. You're talking about the realm from 50 to 65,000 for a job that should be paying fucking double that at a minimum. Again, the low side, 50, double. That's where it should be. To know that kind of information, to have that, and to have it just ready in your holsters to pull out and use at any fucking time is just straight bananas. It's really difficult to have to switch and to have to know and understand and do those types of things. Because myself being in those positions, it's really fucking stressful. And it's crazy having to do that. And it was cool to be able to, I guess, have that sort of experience with the companies that I've worked for, especially with 4Dub. Because I would have moments where I'd be on my own, I'd be designing clothing, and then 5 minutes later, I'd be having a team meeting with everyone on, okay, how are we going to build the displays for, whatever event that's coming up? Okay, we'd have those things, and then I'd have to shut down that mindset, go to the next one, which is a product release. And it's like, okay, how are we going to make the print ads, the print pieces that are coming out to this? How are we going to sell this to these people, to the stores? Because we'd have different types of print materials that went to different people. And it was like constantly having to switch and understand. And then on top of that, it would be like, okay, shut that shit down. Now we need you to get to the website. How are you going to design it? How are we going to navigate this page? Think about it from every which way. So then I had to put on that sort of user experience thing. What would I want to see? How many scrolls? How many photos? How many pieces? What's the drop-down menu going to look like? Being able to switch those mindsets and be on 110%. Not like, okay, let me get my fucking bearings. No. There's no time to get your bearings. When you're going from meeting to person to groups to this, to different fucking things, you're expected to be on 110%. And you don't shut off until the fucking day is done. So that's what my day would consist of. And as stressful as it is, and I'm sure even kind of explaining it was like, dude, what the fuck? That was my everyday. That was my everyday. So I understand what it is to be in this environment. And honestly, I kind of love it. It's a weird, like, love-hate thing, but I do. I love it. I thrive. I feel like I thrive in that environment. That, like, high stress, high movement. But there's also, like, a really big yield, a big reward. And you get to see these things take place, take action, move. Right? Like, I have pieces that would be like, we need this shit right now. And then it would go, it would print, and it would launch nationwide. And there was something so satisfying about driving past a 4Dub and seeing a piece that I designed. Or walking into a store and being like, fuck, dude, this is cool. This is so fucking cool to see shit like that. Or to open up a sporting magazine and see an ad that I did. And you're like, God damn. This is why I had to meet deadline. This is why this had to launch by last Friday so it could be out, hot, chilling on the shelves by Monday. And there's something so sick about that. But it's sad that companies want to put people through all this bullshit, but they don't want to fucking pay you. But the execs are obviously making their money. The company's making their monies. But it's like, nah, let's just not pay people what they're worth. And it's fucked up. And it's very important for people across any and all industries, not just creative, to understand why you should be accepting certain pays versus not accepting others. And if you accept a lower paying job, like for example, the people who are applying for the position I was just talking about at this company, it's fucked up. Nobody should be applying for that position. And I get it. There might be a desperate situation. Somebody might just need the money. They might just need the job for whatever reason, right? The benefits, whatever. I understand that. I understand necessity. I get that because I've also been there too. I've accepted jobs. I've done certain things I don't want to do, but I needed to do because I needed to make money, right? We all got rent. We all got bills. We all got something to fucking pay. All of us. But, mind you, when you take jobs like that and you accept certain positions at certain pay, you also have to understand that it is your responsibility for the industry dropping lower. Because you accepting that is saying that it's completely okay for all of this work to pay somebody this amount of money when you know damn well you should be making double that. And again, necessity sometimes is a bitch and a half, and you do what you got to do. In positions like that, you end up fucking yourself and you fuck the industry. So when Zoe and I were talking about all of this, it's not that it turned sad or got like dark within conversation, because it didn't, but these are just realities. And I know he and I can talk about these things and also pull ourselves out of it, like navigate the conversation a certain way where we can still find glimpses of light on like why it is that we're doing what we're doing and like why we continue within certain realms and things like that. But it is sad. It is really fucking sad. At least seeing California and like where things are going and like how jobs are being paid out and shit like that. Like it was funny as I saw, I guess funny, not funny, right? But funny in the sense that I saw something this morning that was saying that fast food restaurants basically are firing people like at an insane rate. Like it's almost alarming because people can't afford to pay their employees $20 an hour, right? And then it's like, whoa, what the fuck? Like there's this big juxtaposition between the two, because you have people, for example, again, like I was talking about, who are in these industries that should be making double. And then you also have these other motherfuckers flipping burgers that are bitching, that suck at their job, that hate where they are. But it's like, they should be getting paid premium, but there's kids that are going to school that are being fed a certain dream and they're making about the same amount of money. So it's like, fuck, why am I going to go into debt? Why am I going to put myself through all this bullshit if the fucking dude that works at Jack in the Box is making what I make? Make it make sense. And again, a lot of this is like a California thing. This doesn't affect the nation as a whole. But here we are seeing such big leaps and such big jumps in these different directions where it's like, fuck, dude, it makes you sit there and think a little bit. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I got to watch how I move. I got to watch how I just kind of figure everything out. Because now it's not that simple. It's not that fucking simple. The friends that I have who are in corporate, they're like, dude, it sucks because I'm constantly in fear for my job. Because I don't know what's going to happen with the company at any point in time. Because a lot of the times I feel like the marketing department is what ends up getting cut, right? Like, we don't need social. We don't need this. We don't need that. And it's like, fuck, dude, we're the most important goddamn part. We're the reason why people can see certain products. We're the reason why websites get built. The reason why apps operate the way that they do. The reason why videos get produced. Commercials, all this type of stuff. It's marketing departments. But it's scary because you're like, God damn, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And at the same time, you have companies that'll, again, bring in people like for this position that should be paying 90, 100K starting, but they just hired a motherfucker for 50. And then next thing you know, they start to realize, hey, you know what? We got 3 people on our payroll that are making 100K a year. What if we clip that? And we hire 3 more of these 50K motherfuckers because this guy's doing his job for half of the other people's jobs. Let's just take advantage of that. Let's slowly clip them out. And next thing you know, you went from a 300K payout a year, regardless of the company, like what they're making, you went from making a 300 payout to 150 for 3 people. You cut your outward money in half. From a business standpoint, obviously, you're probably like, oh shit, that's fucking amazing. But think about it from the employee's side. If that was you, would you want to be taken advantage of that way? Obviously not. You guys all have lives you need to pay for. You have certain things you're trying to reach, certain things you're trying to do. And if it gets fucked up, it gets fucked up. And I understand that. But goddamn, dude, it's really wild to watch where everything is moving. And it's really scary here. Because then I also look out of state and I see the stabilization, or I see like where people really are making means. They're doing it. They're really fucking doing it. You know, why are jobs in the middle of fucking Chicago, or on the, let's say the outskirts of Chicago? You have production companies out there, creative agencies, things like that. Why are they paying $75 starting for a junior designer? You're like, oh shit, dude. These motherfuckers get it. They get it. Because they're out there. You know, I even see it like in video production. Like there's companies out there hiring juniors, 70 starting, 75, 80 starting. You're like, ooh, shit. That's what's up. But they really want people out here. They want people to be happy to do their jobs. Because at the same time, you know, and I'm sure all y'all understand too, when you're being compensated a certain way, you're happier to do certain things. You're happier to do your job, right? Because you're being paid a certain amount of money. It's not like, okay, let me go bust my ass. Like I have homies who work within like heavy machinery, different kinds of stuff, whether it's like welding, you know, fixing forklifts, different kinds of shit. A lot of homies within those industries. To me, they're being highly underpaid. And I'm not, again, not going to throw out names. So I'm not trying to fucking get attacked by any of these fucking companies, but they're being highly under fucking paid. The conditions that they work in, the jobs that they're doing, they're really fucking dangerous, dude. A lot of the times, these fools could die at any point in their fucking day. A forklift falls on any of them because it's jacked up and they're literally working under it, they're dead. Something fucking falls on them, they lose an arm, they lose their hand. What's up with that? They're fucking done. Companies don't really care though. You know, they pay them the bare fucking minimum. And then once in a while, hey, you guys, we're going to have a pizza party. Fuck a pizza party, dude. Fuck a goddamn pizza party. Like, where the fuck's my money? And some of these guys too, they're busting their ass and they have their yearly review only to make $1 more every year. What the fuck are you talking about? These companies are closing deals, hundreds of millions of dollars constantly, right? And I understand, I'm not fucking fully understanding of businesses to that scale, right? And we're talking major corporations, dude. Fucking giants. Straight up just monopolizers that have their industries locked fucking down. I obviously don't understand how all that, the monies get moved around and certain things go certain places, whatever, but it's the motherfuckers like them, like they're the ones that get the company the money, right? So why are these people not being compensated? Which is obviously why certain people don't want to work. And you know, I'll talk to them about it and they're like, bro, I'm fucking tired. I clock in, I clock out, and that's it. I'm like, that's all you should do. You shouldn't do any more than what you're fucking paid to do. And then when somebody brings it up, it's like, well, dude, I'm doing my job. I'm doing what's in my job description. I'm doing what I was hired for. I ain't doing shit else. You know, I have to go over here and do dumb shit, work in 100+ degree weather, especially right now, coming up on summertime. These motherfuckers are going to be suffering, dude. Suffering. You know, it'll hit days, Ontario, Fontana. You'll hit the 115 all day. 115. And I mean, look, every year out here, the weather's been getting worse. We've been having longer winters, harsher summers. And then the summers are kind of drawing out too. And it's like, fuck, dude. Again, you have these people busting their asses, doing all these things. And where's their compensation? It's tough. The market is fucking scary right now. And this episode wasn't, I'm not trying to make it like doom and gloom. It's just, this is something I wanted to talk to you guys about. And it just so happened to come up yesterday. Because I had already kind of had this in my mind. I was like, man, I would love to talk about just kind of industry, you know, how certain things are being affected, especially my industry. But it's a trip because it's an overall thing. It's everybody's fucking seeing it. You know, I have a buddy who does analytics. He has a master's. It's fucking brilliant. He's one of the smartest motherfuckers that I know. The guy's like fucking Rain Man. You give him numbers and he knows shit. He can spit it out every which way. He understands probabilities. He's fucking crazy. The dude's fucking genius. So he's working right now. He's doing his thing, but he's not in his industry. Why? Because motherfuckers don't want to pay. And it's with his experience, with his degree, with everything that he has, he should be starting at a certain point. He should be making a certain amount of money. And he's not because he's being offered half, right? Same shit as like I was telling you guys with these design jobs. You have these senior positions that are paying 50, 60K when they should be at like 100, 120K starting, or at least have that sort of threshold. Nowhere near it. It's like, hey, we want you to do all of these fucking things with your masters, which we're requiring of you. We want you to have a master's. We want you to have all this experience and be at this senior level, running a team, doing this. But we're only going to pay you 65. Because that's all we got. That's all the budget allots for. So the budget only is allotting for half of the fucking work. So that job description that you guys have, you need to cut that shit the fuck down. And part of that is removing a master's, removing senior level this. Because it's like, how do you expect people to do their jobs and they're not being compensated for it? And then they have to drive to their jobs, which is costing them money. You got to take in fuel costs. You got to take in all this, take in all that. So it's wild. It's fucking wild out here trying to figure shit out. And I'm always talking about shit like this with my homies. Because I have so many friends that work in so many different things, whether it's like finance, business, medical, machinery. They work for the city. They work, unionized, however. And we always talk about this type of stuff. And it's like, God, man, this is crazy. This is fucking crazy. Like, what the hell's going on, dude? I would have never thought, as a kid, you don't think about this shit, that you're going to be in these predicaments. You're going to think about these things and you're going to be faced with all this shit. And it's like, nobody prepares us for it. All of a sudden, you're just here. All of a sudden, you're faced with debt. All of a sudden, you're just kind of understanding what it is to be undervalued. And you're like, oh, I guess this is adulting. I think this is how it works now. Now I'm supposed to just be sad and get up and work and, be on this fuck shit. Like, nah, dude. And that's why for myself right now, like I'm trying so hard to make what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to make it work. I'm really trying to make it work. And it's like, would I go back to a corporate job? I would, for the right amount of money, because the thing is, I'd be sacrificing so much right now. And it's all of that comes at a price. So if I'm to leave what I'm doing right now, there has to be a reason why. And it's got to be fat, obviously, on the financial side. It's got to be fucking fat, or it's not even a conversation. You can fuck off. I'd rather struggle on my own trying to make it than have a motherfucker have his fucking boot on my neck telling me everything what to do, and I'm also being underpaid for it. Like, fuck that. Fuck that. I've been taken advantage of way too much within my industry for far too long. I think the first company to really appreciate work and that showed compensation wise was 4Dub. 4Dub was fucking amazing. They were phenomenal from the very beginning up until my very last day. So that was awesome. But dude, that's fucking 1 in a million the way I see it. So it's rough out there, man. It's really rough. So those of y'all who are looking for jobs, you're trying to do stuff, keep on it. Keep fucking doing it one step at a time, because somebody out there is going to see what you're worth, and somebody's going to keep paying that shit. They're going to see what's up and they're going to be like, all right, cool, you're worth it. And never lose that shit, because if you lose your worth, goddamn, nobody else is going to see it. So you got to have that shit. And a part of this, I guess, coming into like the whole self-worth and all that stuff, I'm pulling up on a week from my birthday, like a week today, Wednesday, because my birthday is on the 19th, next Wednesday. And like, I'm not going to say I'm feeling all right, but it's like, I'm feeling all right. I have a lot of my rougher days. I've definitely had rougher days pulling up as I'm getting closer. And I'm just thinking about a lot of shit. I think a lot of it has to do with just kind of the relationships that have shifted in my life. My uncle not being here. I think that's going to be the hardest one, especially on the day. Because, usually I'll get together with my family at night and just chill. We'll have cake. And it's going to be weird, my uncle not being there. And I'm reminded of that shit constantly. Because I have a picture. Basically, like, we have some pictures of him, like, at the entrance of our home. And one of those pictures is a picture from last year's birthday. He was smiling, he was happy, and I love seeing him like that. But it's hard, because I'm like, damn, dude, would have thought, one, that time would fucking fly, because I don't know how time has already passed this fast. Like, I don't understand how it's been a year, almost. Because he passed July 21st, but the fact that he was here on my birthday last year. So I'm doing the best that I can right now. I'm feeling all right. I'm not super shit. I'm not fucking amazing. I'm just kind of right in the middle right now. And I'm thankful for that. I'm feeling kind of good about it. I'm like, okay, you know what? Look at it in the sense of like things could be worse, right? They could be worse. So we'll see. I have to do some thinking. Of course, I'm still in my pensive state, trying to figure shit out, trying to get myself together coming up, trying to make some changes for this next year for me. I know people always talk about, new year, new me, and it starts on New Year, January 1st, whatever. For me, my New Year's is my birthday. That's when I will make changes. I will make shifts. And a lot of things tend to shift and change around that time, like around my birthday. And honestly, I've noticed it a lot, even in the last few weeks. A lot of things have changed. Relationships have shifted. Certain things, even professionally, have changed. Kind of all around. Everything's like this. It's on a moving table. And it's almost like a lazy Susan. If you guys know what a lazy Susan is, it's like that. You have your table, and there's like a table, like a little table that goes on top of your table, and it spins. And you can put it's good when you have a bunch of food, and you can just kind of spin it when someone asks for something or whatever. You just kind of spin the table and spin it to them, whatever. That's how I feel like my life is like I'm sitting at a table, and everything that I have, everything that I do is on a lazy Susan. And the only issue is I'm not the one that's saying which way it's going to move or what's going to shift or what's going to be taken off. Things in life, universe, whatever you want to call it, things are being moved, shifted. Some things are being added onto this table. Some things are overflowing, and it's like, oh, fuck. But I feel like I can't get a grasp on it, and it's just kind of shifting on its own. I'm letting it do its thing. Trying to surrender to that. Trying to surrender and just let the world, let life do its thing. And all I can handle is like what's in my control. And that's it. Trying to adopt that as much as possible, which we talk about a lot on the show, right? Surrendering, letting the water flow over you type of thing. And that's where I'm at right now. Heavy. I'm just like, fucking let it go. Let it flow. Whatever's going to happen is going to fucking happen. If it's meant for me, it'll stay. If it's not, it's going to go. And there's a reason why it's leaving. And I can't fight that. It's like that. I'm trying to be like that with my work, with my personal life, with my love life, my family, with everything. If it's meant to stay, it will stay. If it's meant to go, fucking let it be. It is what it is. This leads me up to the advice for the week. And I read something, and again, it's like I tell you guys, I fucking read shit and I just know. I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm going to tell these motherfuckers. I'm going to tell everybody this shit. They need to hear it. And the advice for this week is one step at a time, you can do it all. Just not at once. One more time. One step at a time, you can do it all. Just not at once. So remember that. Take the time that you guys need. If you guys need to breathe, you need to go on a drive, you need to go on a walk somewhere, take your fucking time. Breathe about shit. You have a lot of stuff that you need to figure out. Everything's kind of piling onto you. Take it one thing at a time. Because no matter what you do, you can't do it all at once. You can't. It's not physically possible, mentally possible, anything like that. There's no fucking way. Because no matter what you do, it's not going to happen. But if you take it piece by piece, chunk by chunk, and you start to kind of arrange things and just kind of organize it all, you eventually get through it. Next thing you know, you're like, okay, it's finished. And you move on to the next thing. So it's important. Don't forget that shit, y'all. And keep it in conversation. Talk to people around you about it too. See what they think. See how they feel about it. How they deal with stuff. You know what I mean? It's important. Keep these conversations alive. Again, that's what this podcast is about. It's about conversations with friends. It's about you getting to talk to the people that you love, that you care for, and see where your medium grounds are and how you guys can help each other grow, how you guys can help each other move forward. Because we can't do this shit alone. I don't care how independent you think you are. I don't care how much you think, fuck people, whatever, I can do this all on my own. You can't. It always bows down to it. You can handle so much as a person, and eventually you need to reach your hand out. So that's what this shit's all about. But I appreciate you all. Thank you for coming for this episode, for listening, for watching, however you're taking it in. Thank you guys for all the love that you give, for all the support that you show. And I will catch you guys on the next one.